Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason. He is Zach. We are back for round 2. I don't know how to rap.
That wasn't bad. White boy from Flint, Michigan, getting it done. Hey,
Yeah,
first of all, I'd just like to start off by saying rest in peace to everybody's brackets. Because for it being called March Madness, this has been probably the craziest one that I can remember.
I don't remember this many lower seeds winning ever. You may have
wonder,
one sneak through, but
dude, I wonder if any of it's COVID related. Dude, so here's the thing. So we go to March Madness every 2 to 3 years when it comes to Salt Lake. Me and my dad, and we have a group, and we go to March Madness. I love March Madness. In fact, little story is when I was 2 years ago, Jason knows this. We shared that picture of me and him squaring off.
Yeah.
Your wife posted that for the people that saw that. I got up. I cut 11 and a half pounds that morning. I got up at 6 a.m., cut 11 and a half pounds before 9:30 in the morning so that I could go home, shower. I was on weight. And then I went to Vivint and sat down and watched college basketball all day waiting for weigh-ins. Dehydrated, looking like death, and just chewing gum and trying not to pass out. And every time, and then I would just like get up between the games and chew gum and walk around the Vivint and spit in all the drinking fountains as I get there. Dude, it was ridiculous. Made weight though. That was a horrible, like 40-pound weight cut. It was horrible. And then my opponent was still cutting weight. And I told Kevin and Pat, I'm like, this is ridiculous. The Gonzaga game. So when people don't know, so there's 4 games when they come that first round. So there's a 10 game and a 12 o'clock game. And then there's there's a break. And then there's usually like a 6 o'clock game and a 8 o'clock game or whatever. Or 4:30 and 7:30 or something like that. And I like timed it. So I was like at all 3 games and then hurry and run to weigh-ins, make weight. And I'm like trying to get out of there. But I'm like about to pass out too. So I eat a little bit, haven't eaten, and I'm like, I finally told him, I'm like, it's been over an hour. He's not here. Gonzaga game tips off in like 30 minutes. I'm fighting the next night and I'm way more worried about getting to I love March Madness. It's the best.
It is the best.
Anyways, rest in peace to everybody's brackets. It's been crazy. But I was going to say, one thing that's interesting is usually those underdog teams, when they get close and they can start keeping the game close, that away crowd kind of gets behind them and it starts, because like they're all cheering for the underdog, right?
Yep.
I wonder if the COVID thing, we saw it in the NBA, I think 100% in the bubble, some players perform better without the crowd. Like I think Jamal Murray, when he did against the Jazz and then the run they did on the playoffs, he's a guy, I think he performs better without a crowd.
I would agree with that. And
I think there are players. I think some of these smaller schools feel less pressure because they don't have like the big, like, Gonzaga who travels really well, or Kansas who travels really well, or Ohio State who travels really well. There's not these huge crowds like that they're going against. They're just scrimmaging about 5 other dudes in an empty gym almost.
Yeah.
So
it's been crazy, man. It's been fun to watch, though. I love it.
Hey, Ohio State and Illinois kick rocks. Y'all suck. Hey,
Big Ten in general. What the freak is going on with the Big Ten?
Just Michigan,
man.
And then the Pac-12 went 7-0.
It's
Oregon just beat Iowa today.
So don't bet on. When was the last time a number 1 seed's been out before the Sweet 16? It doesn't happen too often, does it?
Not often, but usually it almost happens every other year or so. Dude, it's crazy. And no shock, Gonzaga's just whopping on Oklahoma.
And speaking of that picture that my wife posted, that was pretty much the birth of our podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's when we started kind of talking about wanting to do it. And then a year later, by the way, congratulations. Our 1-year anniversary was last week.
Yeah.
We didn't even say anything about it. Happy anniversary, Zach.
It's because this is what we do now. We just roll.
Now we're rolling, baby.
Yeah, now we're rolling.
So we had a fun weekend. I got to come up to one hit, do a little rolling.
A little sparring,
a little rolling. That was fun. Fun. Yeah.
Did good.
I got tapped out. It's okay though.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
It's not on video though, so I guess I could deny it.
Dude, that's not cool. That's the other thing. It's like, yeah, my wife recorded our roll, and I was just
it was fun.
And it's just like that's all you need to see is the roll part.
Yeah,
all that type of stuff in the room that doesn't need to get posted anywhere.
Hey, it was really good. You want to know who it was good to see up there? It was good to see Tanner in there. I am
just saying. Tanner Hines has come to jiu-jitsu now.
That could be a warning shot for the 185 guys if he starts getting a ground game. Just saying. I like that kid, man. He's a good kid, good guy. Shouldn't say kid. He's not a kid. He's a good guy.
He's my homie at the gym for sure.
He's an athlete. Like I rolled with him, and I'm like, man, you could just see how strong he is and solid he was.
Have you ever seen his? Have I ever sent you his highlight film from high school?
Yes, football? I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's freak athlete. Yeah, freak athlete.
Crazy. And then what's the other guy's name? Who else did I roll with? Mike's son.
He's Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, his little son is only 16, 17 years old. Great kid. We got to roll a little bit. What's up, Mark?
What up, big Mark?
Yeah, just a good group of guys. So that was a fun week. That's the most training I think I've done in outside of weightlifting in a long time.
You were huffing and puffing.
Oh, you should have. Yeah, it was bad. You should have seen me Wednesday. Absolute. Oh, bad. We had some UFC fights Saturday.
Yes, we did.
Pretty fun night. Should we go ahead and recap this bad boy?
Yeah, fun night.
Yeah, fun night. All right, we'll start off with Bruno Silva and JP Baez. Baez. I don't know how he says. I don't think he says Baez. It's Baez, right?
It's Baez, yeah.
Baez, JP Baez. I think we were both wrong on this, but
I thought you picked Bruno Silva.
I think I ended up switching to JP on this one. Okay. I did like Silva. I like the experience, and I think that's kind of what showed in there. And dude, yeah. JP's got some heart, though, man. I just rewatched the fight. I didn't get to see it Saturday. I just rewatched it before we jumped on, and
he was tough.
He's tough. He took some shots. He got right back up. He fought a stud, man, with just a little bit more experience, is what I felt.
Yeah, Bruno. It just looks like Bruno just picked up some losses that he shouldn't have, but it looks like he's one of those guys when he's right, he's super dangerous. And then if something's not right, like he drops fights that he shouldn't probably.
Yeah.
But good performance.
On to the next, we had Montel Jackson and Jesse Strader. Strader coming in on short notice, which I think we all pretty much knew what was going to happen here.
Montel was the biggest favorite on the card, and it's one of those where it's like, ooh, maybe there's some value on Strader. Nope, no, there was not. Montel flatlined him and did his job as a 7-1 favorite and made it look easy. Made it look easy.
What does Montel Jackson do now? Where's he at?
Dude, he's got to be getting close to fighting a guy with a number next to him, right?
He's young. Oh, he lost the fight before that, but before that, he beat Brian Kelleher.
I know he's got some good.
He only lost to Ricky Simone. Yeah, that's such a stacked division, though.
I know, but he's one of those guys. He carries a lot of power. Here's the thing that I like about him is,
you know who would be good? We might get to him later on in the card. Is Yanez too big of a jump up for him?
What?
Adrian Yanez? Is that too big of a jump for him?
Oh, yeah. He don't want that smoke.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. We'll go to the next fight. Out there. We had Trevin Giles and Roman Delids, which I think we both were on Giles on this one.
Yeah, that was my first pick. Cash. I like Trevin Giles and the little underdog there. Pretty close coin flip, but he was a little bit of an underdog. And he's a monster.
He is a monster.
He's a monster at 185.
I think
hands Dolzit his first loss.
I think the writing was on the wall with that one. I think we saw that one coming, so that was a good pick.
Yep.
All right. And the first day, super fun fight. Grant Dawson and Leonardo Santos. Man, what a way to end a fight with 1 second left.
And he was going to lose.
No, he wasn't. He was up on the cards.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. No, he was up, but he still got the finish.
I think everybody thought right. Well, if you listen to freaking Bisbeen, which nobody listened to Bisbeen.
I do.
I don't know why.
I told you why. He's my biggest underdog cash ever. I love Michael Bisping forever.
Well, you can love him, but he's freaking annoying.
Respect the OG, Jason. Respect the OG.
But yeah, that was pretty impressive by Grant Dawson. And how about the corner work from our boy James Krause? Look at me, mother. Like, I love it. I love that.
He's a great coach. You know, I wish I would have known that, because remember I was on Santos and then I was like, no, I'm gonna switch to Grant Dawson, one-eyed freak.
Right.
I was gonna like, and I switched to Grant Dawson and I got with it. If I would have known he's a James Krause guy off the bat, which I should have, my bad. I would have been all over it anyways. I never go against James Krause guys.
Did you think Dawson was winning in the third? Did you think he needed a finish? I did. I thought he was losing.
Yeah, so did I. So, good for him.
Yeah. Next up, we had Macy Chiasson and Marianne Renaud. I think we both called this one right as well. Macy.
Hey,
she's
shout out to Marianne. She was game.
She was definitely game.
And I knew she was going to be game. Macy's huge, though. She was on the Season of the Ultimate Fighter with the 125 girls, I think. No, she was a 135. Just kidding. It was 135. I'm wrong on that. But no, she's huge. She's 5'11", 135.
That's big. Yeah,
she's a problem.
Yes, she is a problem.
And Marianne's tough. But Macy too. Marianne really gave her a tough first round, won the first round, and then Macy was like, no, this is my fight. She beat her up in the second round, and then
actually only 2 judges gave Renaud the first round. One judge, no, they all gave it to her. You're right, they all gave it to her, and then the other 2 Chiasson. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my bad.
Macy poured it on, and she imposed her will on the fight. Maybe a little bit of a slow start for some reason, but good for her. She'll
be one to watch. Next up, we had our boy Tai Tuivasa and Harry Hunsicker. I think we knew what was going to happen in this one as well.
Oh, dude. When you text me right before, you're like, what do you think about going to the second round? I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, me neither. I looked at the stats. I was like, yeah,
bro. Tai Tuivasa with those leg kicks too. You could see by the second one, Harry Hunsicker was like, oh, he wanted out of that fight so fast.
Yeah.
It's Tai. You got to remember, Tai used to he was undefeated at 10-0 at one point in the UFC. And was just mashing everybody. If anybody thinks that they're going to stand and bang with Tai Tuivasa, not a good idea. He's got a coconut head.
Yeah, me too, Steve.
Yeah.
So who do you give him next?
Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy.
I like it.
Greg Hardy.
Tai Tuivasa.
And neither of them will mess with the ground stuff. They're gonna. Because what I would love to see personally is I want somebody to knock Greg Hardy out, and I think Tai Tuivasa is the one that can do it.
I agree.
Like drop him and hammer fist him and put him away.
I like it.
And when Tai hurts people, he pours it on. And I don't know if you've noticed, because he's such a big boy, he has lost a little bit weight, and he looks like he's gotten on top of his cardio a little better. Like, I think Hardy does take a nap. Steve Sharp chiming in. Absolutely. I love Tai Tuivasa, and they're both just outside the top 15, I think. So it's perfect. It's perfect.
Dude, Ty's only 28 years old.
He's a kid.
He's still just in the heavyweight division.
Well, when he lost 3 in a row, everybody's like, oh, he's done. I was like, no. This is a growing pain. This is just a couple step backs. But dude, I think once he figures some other things out, he still hasn't ever shown some competency on the ground. I hope that he's working on it. But it's like once he figures some stuff out, like he's a problem. I mean, he's the modern day Mark Hunt.
I like it.
That's what he is.
I like that he drinks the beer out of the shoe afterwards.
The shoey's the coolest post-fight thing ever.
Love it.
Did you see that he did it in his post-fight interview?
Oh, yeah. They got him. Yeah.
That's so gross. Megan Levy was about to throw up all over the stage.
That is pretty gross. I'll have to pass on that one, but whatever. Next up, man, this is my fight of the night here. Adrian Yanez and Gustavo Lopez. Adrian Yanez.
Performance of the night.
Performance of the night, yeah.
Absolutely.
Adrian Yanez is a problem in the 135 division, in a stacked 135 division. His striking.
Right now, his striking is so good that right now, you want to see some fireworks? Put him and Cody Garbrandt across from each other in a couple fights. You know, when Cody's up there and he racks up because he's got to win probably at least 3 more fights to get up into that range, right? Because it's so deep. You know, we see these guys pass these tests with flying covers, and they make big jumps, right? Like we saw, like I'll throw Connor out there, right? He beat a guy, then got Dennis Seaver at number 7, made that look so easy that they just took him all the way up to the title fight. This weight class is too deep. You can't take those big jumps up, but I think we'll see him slowly take these steps, and he might get a setback or whatever, but his striking is so crisp and so clean. I actually, the fight I think that fascinates me the most is him and Sean O'Malley, who Sean's fighting this next weekend.
Didn't Nathan Maines call him out? Wasn't that him? Yeah,
he did, and that would be a good fight too.
That's a good up and coming.
But Maines is more of a grappler, yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
I see, and which is fine. He's going to have to face that challenge eventually. The reason the O'Malley fight interests me so much is O'Malley's striking is so dynamic and so high level as well. His fight IQ is so high.
Yeah.
I think somebody like Giannis, it would be interesting to see what wins there, the technique or the creativity of O'Malley. And Adrian's technique, you know, he's special.
And he's patient. He's patient too. The patience he showed, the octagon control, everything about this kid is special.
Yeah, he's special. And Gustavo Lopez wanted to like bang with him, and for 16 fights in, he showed a veteran presence in that cage that was just pretty unique. I felt like pretty remarkable. Watch that kid.
You could tell by the second round that.
Once he found his range and
he found his range, you could see Lopez's face was like, "Oh shit!" What did you say after you get hit with 3 or 4 punches? And I don't even think he knew where they were coming from.
That's what. Yeah, I said he had that look on his face. He's getting hit by 3, 4 punch combos, and he had that look on his face where he's like, "I don't even know where these punches are hitting me from."
Yeah,
and that's such a hopeless feeling. I've been there before, and you know, like when I'm going with like high level pros or whatever, and like people that can do that to me, it's so frustrating when you get hit by a couple shots and you're not even sure like. You're like, I know like something slipped through and hit me on the chin, but I don't even know if it was a right or left hand or if it was a kick or what. It just gets so frustrating. And you could see that look of defeat on Lopez's face. I mean, he tried his best.
He tried. He didn't quit. That's for sure. Cause he was firing back.
He's trying.
But Giannis just, his striking's on another level.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we had Montserrat Ruiz on short notice taking Cheyenne Bays. I would like to say that I called that one right.
Okay. That was, it was impressive. If you're Bays, okay, tough night for the Bays couple. They go 0-2.
Very tough night.
That's rough. If you're Bays, you sent me the clip. The pre-fight interview, she's like, this is perfect because I was actually emulating Ruiz because my teammate was supposed to be fighting her on Invicta, and so I was supposed to emulate her, and she goes, all those stupid head and arm throws. Hey, if they're so stupid, you think you know how to get out of them.
Yeah.
Steve Sharp's texted us the whole time during these, like, this is ridiculous. His mind is freaking out because this girl didn't know how to get out of that stupid. Just get your hips behind her and just roll her, dude. Like
when we recorded on Friday, I said I watched her last Invicta fight, and that's exactly what she did. That head and arm, she fought her way in. She 8 punches, fought her way in, head and arm throw, boom, right down the ground, and she submitted the other girl, which I thought she was going to do to Bays in the first round. But
Bays was good.
She's tough.
She was tough, and you could tell, like on the feet, she was touching her up pretty good too. Like in that third round, she still had a chance, but. Yeah. If you're Ruiz, you know, like what's really unique with her, and by the way,
I don't think so, Steve. She called her her the P word.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
By the way, though, if you're Ruiz, when you have something that works for you and it works because of her body style too, right? Yeah. Like she has a style and it works to her advantage. She's 5 foot. She's short. Yeah. Well, she can get in on people. And when she gets in and she gets that little bulldog headed, you know, that little, not even a bulldog choke. I guess you could potentially get it from there maybe, but like that headlock, she's just good at it. She has that low center of gravity and that's great. The problem is that's only going to get her so far.
Yeah.
Like Steve said, the frustration of not knowing how to defend that. What happens when she runs into a 115er that defends it and sweeps it and gets on top of her and beats her up over and over and over again? And she will hit that level. I'm surprised she hasn't yet in Invicta, but for sure, if she ever makes it like deeper into the UFC, like, dude, somebody is going to wreck that girl at some point if she doesn't learn something else.
Yeah. Little post-fight controversy too, with Bae saying she spit on her. I don't.
Let's just call it what it is. Okay, so I'm sorry, you just dominated the girl for 3 rounds. I don't know why you need to yell anything at her after.
She said after it was her emotions in her post-fight interview. She said she let her emotions get to her because of what Bae said about she only has one move. She was talking trash. Well,
she's not wrong.
Stop it then. And she didn't stop it.
But you know what? That'd be like me being like, okay, I'm going to fight so-and-so, and they have no jujitsu.
Yeah.
All they have is stand up. And if they knock me out, like, who cares? Like, you did, like, just let the fight speak for yourself. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just not for being I thought it was pretty classless, and I'm not for that. After the results speak for themselves. Yeah, well, dude, like Fabio, right, in the first fight was fighting another guy, and he beat the brakes off of him, and he comes up and he just came over to us and just said, "Not bad for a jiu-jitsu guy."
Yeah,
like he took a little dig at him, like that guy was a big Muay Thai guy, and he beat him on his feet. And Fabio, like, he took the little dig and, he's proud of himself, but, like, he wasn't disrespectful in the person's face right after they just lost the fight.
I agree with that.
But where Bae's, like, where she screwed up is, like, she was so reactive after too. Sometimes when you just lose like that and you get your, beat, sometimes you just got to take the L and go
kind of like Conor and Khabib.
Yeah. Conor just took it, Khabib was still young, and he just sat there and you just kind of got to take it. You talk all that. If you're going to say she only has one move and then you don't even know how to stop that move, and she calls you something after the fight too, kind of like I'm saying for both girls, like I just didn't like it. I just felt like they were kind of both at fault for it.
Do you think Bae's maybe underestimated a little bit and thought, hey, I'm going to roll this girl in
1 million? Well, she was on the feet.
Dude, her striking is legit. I would have really liked to see that fight with her and Kay Hansen.
Oof.
Yeah. All right. And I took an L on this next fight, Max Griffin and Keenan Song.
This was the one we both missed on. And Max, I wish I would have known Max just had a kid.
Why, you think that gave him a little more incentive to go out there and knock him off?
We saw it, like Donald Cerrone went on a nice run after he had his kid.
True. Yeah.
These new fathers, like I think it gives them a little like extra, like I don't know. Like, I mean, it's not an always thing, but it's a dynamic in your headspace that I think that can be mindful of.
Did he get the win bonus? He got a win bonus too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I think he did.
He deserved it. Dude, he cracked Song. He cracked him. Hey, Max, come on the podcast sometime, bro.
I'll work on that again.
I'll
hit the in-laws up again and see if we can't get it rolling. Yeah, shout out to Max. Next up, you called this one right. I agreed with you all the way up until we made our picks and I switched on you, and I regret it. Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland. Dude, what was up with Kevin Holland? What was up with that? Something was off that night. Like, I know he talks, but
you know what it is?
Is it his defense mechanism?
Yeah, it's his posturing. He knew. I think he knew. Because he always talks, but he's never talked like that.
Yeah, that was a little over.
That is him knowing that he was outmatched. That was him knowing that he was probably going to lose the fight. And that was his defense mechanism. And I'm sorry, that was pathetic.
It was pretty bad. Even Khabib was telling him, pay attention. You have Brunson.
Well, so he took down Brunson. It was the first time he's ever been taken down. And he acted like he won the fight. He was like happy with that moral victory. Like, dude, for being like for being a trailblazer, that performance sucked. Now, I don't care if you go out there and you try your best and whatever, but like if you talk, you have to back it up, or else you look like a chump.
I think he lost a lot of fans Saturday night.
I'm not going to say like
I'm not going to go there, but I think it was a bad look for him.
But what did I say too though? He really wasn't fighting high caliber opponents.
No,
like Derek Brunson, with all due respect, is a gatekeeper. He only loses to legit contenders and future or past title holders. That's all he loses to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kevin Holland, he may be there one day. He's not there yet. And Brunson showed it, and he made it. Dude, he kind of made it look easy too.
He made it look really easy. He got caught. Was it the second round that he got caught?
Third
round when he got caught, and I thought it was almost over with, but
no, you're right. Second round.
Yeah, bad look for him.
Dude, what's next for Holland kept it on his feet, that other guy would have gotten caught.
The other guy. I love it.
The other guy. The guy that just keeps winning, Steve. Derek Brunson.
So who does he get? He wants Costa next, right? Brunson and Costa?
Didn't Costa just get a fight?
So give him
he pulled out.
Cannonier.
Who's he fought?
Cannonier's coming off a loss, right? To what's his name? Crap. I'm just Whitaker. Whitaker just beat Cannonier.
You know who I would like to see him fight? No, I'd like to see him fight Paulo Costa. I would. Yeah, because now Kelvin Gastelum is fighting Robert Whitaker. Right?
I like that. Yep. Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah, give him Costa. And Dill and Vittori are fighting.
Jack
Hermanson, maybe?
Hermanson just got signed with Edmund Shabazian this morning.
Why is he taking? That's weird.
I don't know.
Costa it is then. Brunson and Costa.
It's got to be, right? Or Cannonier. Or like you said, Cannonier.
It was a lame main event, but it was a fun night of fights.
So what do you think about Kevin Holland saying, I'm going to drop down to 170 and I want to fight Bilal Muhammad now? Because, I mean, he weighed in at like 183. So it's I don't think he's killing himself to make 185 by any means.
I think if he can make 170, it's probably good. He'd be a big 170. But is he going to run into the same problems? He's probably looking at 170 and thinking, man, I could probably hang with some of these guys because they're.
Remember when he wanted that Chimaev fight?
Chimaev would have murdered him.
Remember when he wanted that?
Yeah.
I think he's still angling for that fight. That's why I think he's going down to 170 because it looks like Chimaev's making his home at 170.
You know what else threw me off in that fight? I could swore he's a jiu-jitsu black belt under Travis Lutter. Didn't look like he looked like me training on Saturday.
Are you sure he's a black belt though?
I could have swore on Joe Rogan they said because he's been with Lutter for a while. Lutter's been his coach since he was like 16 or 17 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say this, and this is no disrespect to anybody or anywhere. Not all black belts were made equal.
Clearly.
And you know, it's just it's some are just different, man. Like not all black belts are made equal, bro. And you know what else smashes jiu-jitsu? Good wrestling. Derek Brunson's a good wrestler.
Brunson is a very good wrestler.
He did a good job.
Can counter that. Yeah.
He did a good job.
You know what? I don't know if okay, let's just say he does go down to 170. I don't think you throw him in there. Maybe a Bilal Muhammad.
I think that's actually a pretty good fight if Leon for sure is moving on.
Did you listen to that Leon Edwards podcast with Joe Rogan? I like Leon.
I'm just finishing the Corey Sandhagen. Oh, I hope I listen to it and like him because he bugs the you know what out of me.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's I like him.
What about I mean, that Bilal Muhammad, I don't know if I don't know if Kevin Holland deserves that fight. And if you're Bilal Muhammad, I don't know if like that fight excites you. Like if you're Bilal Muhammad, like I'm sitting there looking at the other 170ers being like, can I get like,
it's a bad matchup for Muhammad, if you ask me, because I think he's too
be.
small for 170. He's short, isn't he?
He looks short.
He if he fights a guy like Kevin, I think Kevin will be able to, because Muhammad's a wrestling guy too, right? He likes to wrestle.
He mixes it up really well. I'm not sure if he has a wrestling base, but he mixes up his MMA, his striking with his grappling very, very well. That's actually what Bilal does extremely well. Is he keeps you guessing where the fight's going to take place.
He's 5'11", 71-inch reach.
5'11" is a little small for 170.
Yeah, especially if you're going up against those other guys that are over 6 feet. I think Leon Edwards is like 6'2" or something. Like Leon's big, 170.
Yeah.
I liked listening to how he was breaking down his fight with Muhammad and what he was doing. I like listening to those guys. Steve Sharp is another guy that I like listening to.
I love it.
These guys are just walking freaking books of knowledge to just pick their brains.
For sure.
We got a huge pay-per-view this weekend, which we will break down on Friday, but can we get an early pick from you? Are you going to give us an early pick? Stipe and Ngannou?
I don't have an early pick, but my gut's going Stipe. I gotta look at it a little bit more. I like to see weigh-ins. I'd like to see where Stipe's weighing in at.
Yeah.
Because we know Francis is ginormous. But Stipe says he'd like to make it a quick night and not do another 5 rounds with him. I know Francis looks different. I know Francis is a better fighter than the first time they fought, but I think Stipe is a better fighter than the first time they fought. And Stipe has shown the ability to make adjustments in rematches, even when he wins. He did that against DC, right? He did a little bit of what he was doing against DC, but he also added some things to beat DC a second time. And Stipe's one thing that he doesn't get enough credit for is his fight IQ. I think he's a very intelligent fighter. Now, Francis last time had pretty much no wrestling and could not stop that. And he says he's been working on it and he's at Extreme Couture. So we would imagine that he can wrestle a little bit. I just don't know if it's enough to negate how long Stipe's been wrestling.
Yeah.
But he's so strong, he might be able to stuff some of those takedowns and make Stipe exert more energy, at least to get them.
Yeah.
One thing though one thing that's going to be really interesting and that I wonder. Okay, I'm just going to say this now. I have this weird feeling Stipe by submission.
Really?
I don't know why, but just like I like, could you just see like they're in this like weird like he gets him on the ground or whatever, and he tries to get out, and Stipe just like grabs his arm and like arm bars him.
That would be
like, I don't know why, but that's just in my head. Like Stipe creates some weird scramble thing, or they get the scramble, or he like takes his back and sinks in a rear naked choke or something. I mean, I just think it'd be insane.
You ready for this?
What?
Stipe by submission plus 1525.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's probably way off, but like there's something in my gut that's like, what if Stipe actually did take him down and just submitted him? Because I don't know, because Francis is grappling. I mean, Francis is such a baby in this sport still.
He really is.
Like when he fought Stipe the first time, he'd only been training for a few years.
His story is, if you guys have not listened to his, if you haven't listened to his story, I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I was a fan, but I became a bigger fan after listening to what that guy has been through and what he's gone through to get here and change his life around, and it's just phenomenal, man. Like,
I love Francis, and I think he would be a great ambassador for the sport if he wins the fight. But guess what? Here's the other part of it. Stipe is the only American champion in the UFC right now, and I would like I'd like to keep it that way. I think so.
I think you might be right.
I think so. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
I'm pulling it up. Zach probably drank too many monsters before we got on here, and now so we got Davison Figueiredo champ, We got Aljamain Sterling, champ in bantamweight. Alexander Volkanovski. Khabib still showing at lightweight, but we know that's gone. Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, Jan Blachowicz. Oh, yeah, he's right. Aljamain. Yeah, Aljamain would be the closest one, but I think yeah. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Amanda Nunes, Brazil, Valchina, Wei Li. Wow. All right. We need Stipe to win. I don't really have a dog in the fight either way. I like both of those guys a lot. Steve, who you got winning? Since you're still listening. Gonzaga is up 73-63 for everybody that put money on Gonzaga.
Sorry about that.
Thanks for telling me to lay off of that. Gonzaga's up 10. They're cutting it close.
I told you.
They'll still cover.
I don't think they're going to cover, but
I think Aljamain is the only one.
Oh, Aljo.
Oh, that was stupid. Yeah, stupid question, Steve. My bad. I don't know why I asked that. I asked Steve who he thought was going to win the fight. Duh.
Yeah.
Stipe. Duh.
But
yeah, Aljamain's the only other really.
And that's because
Could you say?
I'm sorry. I don't consider Aljo a champion.
I don't think he does either. Could you consider Usman? He's pretty much born and raised in the United States, wasn't he?
Marty?
Yeah. I don't know.
Where does it say he's from?
Good question. Let's see. I think it says, isn't he from Cameroon too?
Nigeria?
Yeah, Nigerian. Yeah, he's the Nigerian Nightmare. That's right. He's fighting out of Florida. He went to the University of Nebraska, Kearney. Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I'm just saying I like Stipe. You know what though? Because you know what's cool? Aljo is Jamaican. You're right, he is. I agree, Steve. That's interesting. I don't think anybody's the champ until you defend the belt. Yes and no.
I mean, if you beat the champ, I don't think Aljo should be, and I'm not saying he thinks he is.
I think it's for me, it's a vacant belt that they're going to run it back to see who's crowned the champion.
And I saw this somewhere else, and I'm saying it right now. Aljamain is going to make that. Aljamain has a very good shot of winning that next fight because I think that blueprint is laid out and he knows. I don't know if he gets it done, but
he like his chances
even more.
He definitely knows. I think one thing he'll learn is the pace.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big adjustment that he can make and that he can control.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is what does Petr Yan do different?
I don't know if he needs to do anything different. That's the thing.
He should because
he's going to have to think of something.
He's going to have to mix in some sort of wrinkle because you know that Aljo's going to be different. If you go in and fight the same way that you did and he made adjustments and you didn't, now you're going to have to make adjustments on the fly or in between rounds with your coaches. I was all over Aljo and I was dead wrong and we got so lucky on that. But I will not bet against Petr Yan again against Aljo. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I will either, but it was certainly fun.
I'm a fan of both. I think Petr Yan's a murderer. I really do. Like I believed him. I was just so high on Aljo after how he looked against Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
That it was just like, oh my gosh, if he could do that to Sandhagen, like sky's the ceiling for this guy. But at the same time, like I think, man, that's the other thing is I forgot and I don't give enough credit to Petr Yan's boxing is so clean and so incredible. I mean, I don't know when we see it, but if we ever get to see like Giannis and Petr Yan, like, I mean, just two high level, like just hands guys and just boxers, like, I think it'd be pretty crazy.
Giannis is fast. Oh, well, you'll listen to it when you listen to the podcast. I was listening on the Leon Edward podcast. He was talking about going to boxing gyms and sparring. And he's like, over there in England, he's like, it's hard. As an MMA guy to walk into a boxing gym, he's like, those guys all are trying to take your head off. Can you imagine if you went into, I don't know, State Street boxing on State Street?
Dude,
whatever.
so we had a kid, dude, he kind of dropped off the map. I don't know what happened to him. He used to come to our gym. I saw him, he'd come do some rounds at Team Link. Um, I saw him down at Factum a few times. Where else? His name's Christian. I don't know where he went or what happened to him. But he'd come and just spar with us.
Yeah.
And he'd have his like 8-10 ounce gloves and then like the little, like, I don't know what it's called because I'm an idiot. The guard protector.
Oh
thing,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
around the waist and whatever. And he'd come in and he'd just boxing round spar with us or whatever. And dude, he would come in and he would crack. Like, I'll never forget. He came and helped one of my Shark Tanks or whatever.
Yeah.
And dude, he was like, his jab was lighting me up. And it was, dude, it was totally, it was so different. And he'd bang with anybody, Tanner, Joe Rodriguez. And he was probably boxing was like, I would guess in the 150s, maybe 140s, 150s somewhere. You know, he wasn't like a big guy.
Yeah.
But he was long and dude, tons of heart. And he would go in there and crack and bang with anybody. And they spar and they spar hard. And he was, I mean, I felt like I was fighting him every time. And me and him were cool. And then one day I was like, bro, we have 16-ounce gloves. Like, why don't you at least put on some 16-ounce gloves? And I'm like, why don't you put on some shin pads so we can kick you too?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And he's like, well, you know, it's like you're coming to an MMA gym and like you're bringing all your boxing stuff and just boxing. I'm like, dude, if we wanted to box, we'd come to your gym. Like,
yeah,
come to our gym. Like, you know, and then he came to he's like, I want to do MMA fighting. He came to the MMA class one time and he had his MMA gloves on or I lent him my extra pair of MMA gloves and he put them on and we did some sparring rounds with shin pads and MMA gloves. Took him off like halfway through the class. He goes, "You guys are nuts," and he left. Never came back.
He's like, "Screw that! I'm over that. It's crap."
Oh, everybody's different, crazy. All of us fighters are crazy in our own ways, but you know, it's whatever. But yeah, dude, those boxing. You go to those boxing gyms, they freaking bang, dude. They crack.
Yeah. Well, should we wrap it up today? This is an early one today. I feel like we got more to talk about, but we don't. That was a quick little card. We have
a really special guest coming on Wednesday.
Do we? Who's coming on Wednesday?
Tyson Cowan is going to come on.
Oh,
Wednesday.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me about that.
Former Still Fist guy. He says he has a really special story to talk about. He doesn't fight anymore, but you know, former drug problem and stuff like that, and how MMA helped him. And he wants to come on and share his story, and then talk about how, and hopefully his message so it'll help other fighters that they don't head down the path that he did to kind of cope with some of the stuff. So it's very interesting. I'm very excited to. We'll get a time nailed down and we'll post that. But
sweet.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday afternoon, probably. We are out.
Bam, bam.